Hello, welcome to the Arch Assessment. I know it's been a long time. I apologize for that. I've been under the weather for the last couple of weeks, but now I'm back, ready for action. Along with me, I have CJack Productions once again. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, my man. Doing great.
And we're going to talk about the sleeper hit that just came out a couple of weeks ago, which is known as Sinners. I believe this is Ryan Coogler's fifth
Mhm.
directorial effort, I want to say. Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and now this.
Yeah, and mind you, he
And
wasn't dead, but there's a story behind that.
okay, so CJ, I'll start with you first. What was some of your initial impressions overall about this film?
I like it. Take place in Mississippi in the 1800s. Yeah,
No, 1930s, 1930s.
1930s. Wow, I went way too far back.
Yeah.
1930s during the Prohibition, and yes, you're right, the Great Depression, all that. I like that era in history anyway, and it was good. It kept me enticed, and it starts off like a Quentin Tarantino film. Favorite director. Like at the end of the story, like he comes into a church and like, dude, you're all bloody. What the hell happened to you? And it goes into the story. I love those
Mhm.
stories.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it at the very beginning when we saw Sammy walking in. I didn't even know who Sammy was at first.
Same.
I thought possibility. I don't know why I thought this, but low key, I was kind of wondering. All right, is he a vampire? And is he going to bite the? I didn't know that was his dad, who was the preacher at first. I
No,
didn't know
right.
what was going on, and like, why is his face scarred up? What's with the broken guitar? I didn't know
I know
nothing.
nothing.
So there was a small
No
part of me
question.
that was low key thinking he was a vampire and he was going to bite the preacher because there was so
Right.
much tension built up in that scene. I didn't know what to make of it. And then we go cut to like the day before, and then that's where we're introduced to Michael B. Jordan as Smoking Stack, the twin brothers, who are coming back from Chicago. They were working under Capone, I want to say, and they just came back with some stolen money. And what I liked about this was they showed the slight contrast between the two brothers. So Smoke was the one with the blue hat and
Mm-hmm.
he had a stoic personality, whereas Stack was the more smiling, more talkative, the one that was messing with Haley Steinfeld. That was the other person. I guess you could see the slight contrast. So shout out to Michael B. Jordan for his acting performance. You know, the
Split himself in half. Yeah.
distinguishing between the two different characters. So that was cool. And they're meeting up with a white man to buy a windmill. And we don't know what's going on. And I thought that was very telling and very interesting when he said the Klan doesn't exist no more. Do you remember how that
Yeah,
conversation came
right.
out?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I remember. He's yeah.
And if we didn't learn nothing else from the usual suspects, what did they tell us? The greatest trick the devil ever played was convince you he didn't
It
exist, right?
exists. Correct.
That's what I thought about. I was like, yeah, right. And what
Yeah.
did you think of that scene when they're in there inspecting the property they're about to buy and it got a little tense? What did you make of that? Because it wasn't there's like some blood on the floor or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You answered my question. It was like, okay, well, we'll first of all, they were like, we'll take it, but we're gonna take it at this price. Well, what you mean? Well, there's blood on the floor. Like, what the hell happened here? And da 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 da. And and then he was like, well, take it or you leave it. And he still spit on the floor. I was like, well, damn, bro. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, this
Well,
is a white man in circa 1930s Mississippi. You can only expect so much. What are you gonna do?
facts, facts.
And I just liked how that whole thing played off. And then we cut back to, correct me if I'm wrong, forgive me if I'm missing something. This is when we go back to Sammy again. He's at the church with his dad. And
Mm-hmm.
we find out that Sammy is their cousin. And the dad is like real is a pastor. He's not with the whole blues music thing and whatnot. And Sammy goes off with Smoke and Stack, and he's helping them like recruit people for this their grand opening.
The juke joint.
Yeah, and I like. What did you think about that scene with the snake in the back of the truck and all that?
It was, I guess, a necessary display of toughness on Sammy Stack's part because he's like, and he just took that huge butcher knife. You forgot about that. Not
Mhm.
really forgot about it, and shows like, okay, like was that symbolism or a scene necessary to show that they can do business, but they got hands too. That's what I interpret.
Yeah, yeah, and then the twin brothers split their ways. You know, Smoke's going one direction, Stack is bringing Sammy with him on the other, And this is when where they're recruiting people to for their night, you know. So Smoke goes off. He's meeting up with Grace and Bo, who are the Chinese shopkeepers. So I like this piece too. It showed like how the black folks then mingled with the Chinese immigrants at that time. So that was a thing back then. So I need to go back and learn my history a little bit more as far as what was going on during the Great Depression era and all that. So that's like a part of history that's never talked about. It wasn't just black folks. There was like other non-white minorities.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you. They helped with the railroad. They helped. There was a lot of immigrants.
Right. I mean, I've always known that. That's not a surprise. It's just, but it's something that's seldom displayed, at least from what I've seen, seldom displayed in media.
I agree.
So I like that Ryan Coogler touched on that. And he's meeting up with Grace and Bo, and I like the part where Smoke hired the girl to watch his truck. And he lets her know, like, hey, let me know, honk, if it's anyone tries to get in my truck. And sure enough, someone does. And he goes back and he knows the guys. So I liked how that whole thing played out. And the girl told him, was like, hey, I told you that was Smoke's truck. And they said they didn't believe him. And then in order to maintain his reputation, Smoke still shot both of them just to let them know they couldn't get away with that.
Right.
So I thought that was like a very interesting preemptive move on his part.
It's true. Because the girl said, like, oh, Smoke, and the dude, after his butt got shot, mind you, oh, if I knew it was your truck, I would have messed with it. That's a bald-faced lie. I told you whose truck it was, and they went in. I believe her. They went in anyway. I'm like, well, you catch your fade in your butt like it's training day. Anyway.
Yeah. I like that. And then, so Grace and Bo, the husband and wife, the shopkeeper, they're on board. And then, what else? Oh, and then we cut over to Stack and Sammy. And this is where we meet up with Delta Slim. Delroy Lindo's character.
Which, by the way, he ages immortal as much as Morgan Freeman. But
yeah. Ain't that a fact? He looks the same from what I remember him back in the early 90s and Malcolm X and all that stuff. So he's always consistently looked the same. So it's always a pleasure to see him on screen because he does, like, he was like shockingly like one of the best performances. Shouldn't say shockingly, but he was one of the best performances of this movie, in my opinion. I liked what he brought to it. I mean, he always comes with it, but it wasn't until he's always been a consistent actor, but it wasn't until The Five Bloods, that Spike Lee movie about 5 years ago.
Yes.
When I really started taking notice of him.
And he started to shine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's always shined. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's just now getting good. It's just I'm personally starting to take notice of him. Like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, same here. I like to, if we're going to talk about him, there's two roles that stuck out to me. Gone in 60 Seconds, when he was chasing Nick Cage. Yeah, that was a real good one. And a lot of people don't know about this movie. It's called The Heist, with Danny DeVito,
Gene Hackman.
Check that out.
I know about that. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know about it.
Yeah, it was basically, and I'll wrap this up. And it was an answer to Score, which was another good movie with Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. But anyway,
and Edward Norton. Yeah, I saw that.
And Edward Norton. Yeah.
It came out the same year, actually.
Yeah, it was a counter because Paramount did one, and I forgot which one. Paramount did one, and not Fox. Who's their rival? Paramount and Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers did the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So I like that whole scene where the Stack is recruiting Delta Slim, and I like that whole interaction. And then we also meet Pearline, I think her name was, and Sammy's real smitten with her off rip. And I like the little banter back and forth. She's married. And yeah. And then this is where we see our girl Kate Bishop, aka Haley Steinfeld. And this is the part I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I thought, from what I could tell, like, the trailers give too much away. I thought
it's literally that scene. I thought it was gonna be more to it. That scene, I'm gonna keep it G-rated. I thought it was more to that. I'm like, well, damn, that was the juicy part.
Yeah. I thought she might have been a vampire from the jump, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, wait a minute, she's in daylight. What am I saying? So I didn't know, like, how this was all going to turn out. I didn't know, like, obviously she was going to turn into she was going to get converted later on in the movie. I was like, okay, she's not a vampire yet. All right, obviously.
No. I thought, well, in some mystics history, some vampires, if you're the head vampire, you can't tolerate sunlight, supposedly.
Really?
But yep. But depends on the folklore. But whatever. Go ahead.
Okay. But what did you think of that whole interaction between her and Stat?
at the train, right?
Yeah, the train station.
Yeah, that was again. I was supporting your point. It was about the intimacy interaction. Yes, I'm keeping it G rated.
Yeah.
That I was like, well, damn, we saw that in the commercial and YouTube and all that stuff. You can blame social media for that. True. Yeah. But getting bypast that, like, you don't want me around anymore. And it was culturally strict. And again, the director did a good job on that, being an adult for a minute. Because she's supposed to portray half and half, right?
Yeah. She's white passing. She's white passing.
But passing, right? She is white passing. You're like, well, is it because of my heritage? Because I'm about that. Like, basically, she wants to be down with the brothers, but the problem is it's not my fault, my heritage. So she seemed like she had something to prove, and it was much needed because imagine how they felt back in those times. So yeah.
Well, the bigger issue was like white men, like black men ain't supposed to be looking at white women like that. You know what I'm saying? Emmett Till didn't even go down until the 1950s. This is the 1930s. So black men, especially in the 1930s, had to be super self-conscious of how they carried themselves around white people, more specifically white women. So this is why Stack was nervous. So this was like some on the down low, keep it on the DL type thing for Stack. Whereas with Haley Steinfeld's character, Mary, she blowing up his spot, making him uncomfortable.
Right.
And she just acting like it's whatever, but she ain't the one that got something to lose.
Yeah, this is in Mississippi we're talking about. They lynched
it doesn't get any realer than that.
No, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so the stuff she was saying, I was like, Kate Bishop, Haley.
My little girl's all grown up. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm like, okay, well, shoot. If you were leaning in your chair, folks, like, okay, this is Kate Bishop, little Goldilocks here. Oh, damn, the vapors.
Yeah. But he was just telling her, like, yo, yeah, I can't do nothing. You gotta kick rocks, yada yada. And then they go and meet up with Cornbread, who's working out in the field. What do you think of that whole interaction when Smoke said something? Stack said something about his wife, and Cornbread was getting ready to throw hands, and then the wife was cool about it. She's like, wait a minute, how much money is he talking about?
Right. It comes to show even back then, money changes any perspective. He was like, you can't be talking about my wife like that. He about to throw hands, and he was like, okay, well, I can tolerate a little bit of BS for that much money. You know what I'm saying?
Wait. No, the wife heard it. She was like, wait, how much money is he talking about?
Yes.
That was pretty funny though.
Oh, yeah, it was funny.
That was real funny. And then so fast forward, make sure and this is where we cut over to Remick, the vampire.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. And then like we used to see him coming out blue. It's like it's dusk is setting in. We see like the steam coming off his back, and he's rolling over to that Klansman couple's house. And I didn't even realize the thing, because I can't say I'm the biggest vampire lore aficionado myself. I didn't know. It turns out in vampire lore that vampires got to ask to be let in. I didn't know that was a thing. At least I wasn't paying attention.
There's 3 rules: running water, but they're the weaker of the rules. Like you had to have seen. I'll tell you off camera. I forgot the title. It had your boy from the newer version of remember the dude that starred in Phone Booth? What's his name? He was the star.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah. Remember the movie? They filmed it here in Henderson. Fright Night. It was a remake of the original. And remember, he was looking at the door. He was like, "Aren't you gonna let me in?" And looking at the human like he's some meat. And he just can't wait to get in. Fundamental rule: you have to ask permission. Running water and black cats. Black cats, vampires don't like them for some reason, but I don't know why. And garlic, of course, the garlic thing.
What's with the running water?
So, biblically speaking, it's basically because running water runs a certain direction. In the audience, guys in the comments, let me know. But you can Google it for yourself. Running water deters them, or it's supposed to mean this is God's work, like the whole holy water thing. You have to look it up. I don't know why, but it's one of their weaknesses.
Okay. But what did you? Yeah, and I liked how that whole scene with Remick, he had to be let in, and they reluctantly let him in. And then the Native American hunters came in right behind that. I was like, hey, who this guy you let in? He ain't what he appears to be.
No,
and because and this is how stupid the Klansman couple is. Like they were trying to like save him, and they wouldn't listen because they ain't white.
And you saw what he did when he was getting burned and lynched and all that stuff, right? And he was like, they weren't going to let him in at first. And they were like, and he's like, oh, I see the ropes. I can use this, which was clever. Well, I got these engines chasing me. That they weren't stupid Klansmen. They're like, well, engines don't go around just, these are a little more modern times. They don't go around
Yeah.
just scalping white people no more. But nonetheless, come on in, brother. We'll let you in. But yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was just funny to me how one of the Indian guys was like, all right, we told you, we out.
It's true. And they rolled off. It's true.
And that was the end of that. So I thought that was interesting. But we knew it was going to be a wrap for the couple once after they left. And because I remember, because like the problem with trailers nowadays is if you pay close enough attention, if you watch all the trailers, you can start piecing what's going to happen.
It's true.
Because even before I saw the movie, I remember seeing the part where Remick already got to the husband first. And he was like, oh, he's just resting right now. I knew that was the part that was coming next. Resting. And then he was just going to get her second. I already knew it was a wrap. So he already got the Klansman couple. And then Smoke and Stack already recruited everybody. And they're setting up shop in their newly bought building. And everything is going good. And then I also liked how everything is getting started. Everything's in motion. And what do you think of the whole argument? Oh, before I get ahead of myself, what did you think about Smoke when he was talking to Annie?
Oh yeah, that confused me.
We get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that confused me. Kate Bishop's character, right?
No, the black woman.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm glad I asked.
The voodoo priestess.
The right. Okay.
B-17, 100 B-17 from Loki.
Right. I thought it was cool, and I didn't know there was some former history involved. I'm like, well, which one of y'all is she messing with? I just thought it was kind of awkward. I just thought it was just awkward. There was nothing more to that, because you set up the scene where he's messing with Stack, but Smoke too. I'm like, okay,
Smoke's got another thing going on. So Stack is messing with Haley Steinfeld. Smoke is messing with Annie. So before he talked to Annie, remember he put some roses and some flowers next to like a grave. So I didn't know what that was about. I found out later that was like their dead child. They had a child together or something like that.
Something they had together.
Yeah, and there was a brief argument, and they were having a brief argument about faith, and then they were kissing and making up, and then fast forward to the opening night because they wanted to get it popping right away, which they did. And then I remember as the night started, Smoke and Stack and Annie were having an argument about the money, and like Smoke was saying, we need them. We running the business here. At the rate we're going to be in the red within 2 months or something like that. I want to say it was.
Yeah, the numbers, they were blowing off more money than they were bringing in. Yeah.
Yeah. So Smoke was like, hey, we can't just have them just paying wherever they can. We need full price. And Stack and Annie's argument was, no, well, it is what it is. We want them coming back. And and then I think Smoke begrudgingly relented and let them do what they do. Because I think the longer term, the bigger picture game was, the long term was, we want them coming back. So that was an interesting point. And then Mary, for the sake, instead of just calling her Kate Bishop or Haley Steinfeld, I'm just gonna go with Mary for right now. So Mary shows up and she's trying to be down. So I just want to say Haley Steinfeld gave off a great performance in this movie overall. I mean, I'll never forget her from True Grit back in 15 years ago. Did you ever see that True Grit?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So
she's turning up her range. She's building a portfolio with her acting, by the way.
Yeah. So she's in there, she's kicking it, she's mingling, and then her and Stack have a little conversation, and he loves her and all that, but it's just like, we can't be together because of whatever, you know what I'm saying? We can't be together. Yeah. I can't remember how he phrased it exactly, but it's complicated. He does have feelings for it, but optics.
It was just complicated, but yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when Remick and the two people he just recently converted try to show up. And the thing is, I think what is lost on a lot of people about this movie, they're just looking at it, and by people, I mean Caucasians, or at least most of them, are looking at it simply a vampire movie, but it's allegorical. The vampirism is more than just a horror movie. There's a horror element in it, obviously, but the vampires, Remick, and all of them can be allegorical to like allies. Black people are always inventing new things, making new trends, and then white people want to come in and co-op something. So that's where the whole vampire metaphor comes in my opinion. What do you say?
No, I agree with that because of the fact that the vampire lore is popular for a reason. True Blood, Blade, any genre. It's the top tier because it's the most relative, I think. Relative, I think. And using this time and era to have vampires. Basically, it took me back and the scene, the dialogue between the vampires, they didn't know at the time, at the door, and what was going on, the juke joint, took me back to 30 Days of Night, where they're just dialoguing. You remember that? They were like having dialogue.
It's been a long time since, I know what you're talking about, but it was a while ago since I saw that.
Yeah, and it was just relevant. That's all I got. I don't want to ramble, but it was just relevant to why these two cultures rather, between the 1930s era and this, it worked in a script. It just worked, James. It just worked. That's all I got.
And I like the whole thing. I think what drew Remick over there to begin was the music Sammy was playing. That's what got Remick's attention. So he was there mainly for Sammy. Sammy was the main attraction because of the music he was playing, because he can bring back or help Remick get back to where he's going with his music. And then
basically the roots.
Yeah.
The soundtrack.
I like that whole sequence. What did you think of that whole sequence when they were partying in the juke joint and they were fusing like modern day present music with the music back then? How did you feel? What did you think of that? What did you make of that?
I was trying to really hard to look at it, not as the Aztecs, like, where are they coming from with this? Why is it intertwining here? No, I think it was a message to young people to where, see, you could still have classic hip hop like Jay-Z. Jay-Z did a lot of that, like, it's a hard knock life, intertwining, that kind of stuff. Am I making sense? And so trying to say, hey, old school, what's it called? Soul music? Not soul music. A spiritual, like the songs that we sung when we were picking cotton and all that stuff. Let's just call it what it is, and just making it memorable. I think it was some kind of symbolism. I didn't quite understand it. I think somebody who understands music more would understood it, but I liked it. I just didn't understand why.
I just liked how they intermingle, like the twerking, the DJing, the 1930s era music. So I thought that was an interesting take. Yeah. And then cut forward. Then that's when Remick shows up with them, and he's like being super charming, super cordial. And I'm thinking back in my mind, I'm like, all right, Remick's going to turn up at some point. I'm just like,
right.
At some point, he's just going to like drop the nice act. He's like, he's going to turn up and do something, but he didn't. So I was just like, all right, what's the catch? We know it's going to go left. I'm just like, that's it.
When? You're basically asking when, and that's good. I call it carrot dangling plot, because like, hey, no, y'all gotta go, because your boy Cash was like with the gun, like, nah, you gotta go. Oh, we can jam too.
Oh yeah. So that was interesting too. So before he they retreated, it was just like when they're all standing at the door, look at him. You can tell the difference between Smoke and Stack for starters. So I liked how Smoke was still on his guard. He still had his armor up, you know what I'm saying? But you could see like a little opening with Stack where when they were like performing, and Stack was like, okay. So
they got some soul, they got some rhythm.
That was kind of a foreshadowing of like, okay, Stack's going to get got first. That's how
right. Yeah.
And then it was very interesting how Haley Steinfeld was in the back, and Remy peeped that. He's like, wait a minute, why is she in there then? And it was like, well, she kind of family, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. He was like, well, she's bright as snow. Like, well, she family. She don't count. Okay. All right, now. We'll talk to y'all later. And
this is the lesson where it's not always a good idea to invite everyone to the cookout. Because, of course, it had to be Mary, to, you know what I'm saying, to bring him in. Because she goes out there and talks to him. You know what I'm saying? She got to be... well, let me go in there and talk to him. So this is where I knew, okay, Haley Steinfeld's about to get got. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not going to go. But I thought that whole exchange was interesting. So, of course, like, they don't come out right away doing what they do. They're talking for a little bit. I'm like, okay.
They're chopping it up.
I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. But I just liked how I thought it was just masterful how they did it. So I can't remember word for word what they were saying, but I just remember at a certain point, Remy's eyes were showing red and he was drooling. I was like,
the universal thing was drool, right? Like, oh my God, I
ooh.
can't wait to eat this cake. And no pun intended towards her, anybody.
Yeah.
But the like, oh my God, okay, you know what? I need to go, y'all. And she had the gun, and the minute she turned around, you just saw.
The way they did that, I just thought it was dope how they did that. That was instant.
I agree.
And then cut over. Then you see Haley coming back in, like, well, are you gonna let me in? And of course, Cornbread ain't gonna think nothing of it.
He's all muscle and no brains. Yeah.
So it was like, okay. And then Haley Steinfeld, Mary, she's acting a little different, slightly. I mean, it's not that obvious to you, but because
vampires by nature, they're, especially the males, they're more seductive. They like to seduce their prey, whether it's the opposite sex or whatever. It's like, hey, let's go in and have a little talk real quick, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they go in the back room, then the music really intense. And you get that one sister crawling around on all fours. I was like, damn.
Oh, speaking of which, what did you think about the whole scene between, we don't get to go to this and get into specific details, but what did you think of that whole thing between Sammy and Pearline?
There was energy involved. There was some really good, there was really good PG-13 energy going on. That's all I'm going to say.
Man, I'll just say this much. Did you see a meme online where it said, she didn't even wash up, but she didn't, and she was gonna let Sammy do that, but she couldn't eat no garlic. Really?
but continue.
Yeah,
you're spot on, man. That's just some hypocrite stuff.
Yeah. And then so everything is going on, everything seems chill, or at least it seems chill. And then Smoke realized he ain't seen Stack in a minute, so he's just like, "Yo, where's Stack?" So Stack's alone with Mary in the room. You know what I'm saying? They handling business. And then Sammy walks in there. He wanted to get Stack's attention, and they doing what they doing. So Sammy's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna leave it alone." And then he goes back to Smoke.
Right.
And then he goes back to Smoke, and Smoke's like, "Nah, hell, hold on." And then they go, and that's when we see Mary killed Stack.
Literally drinking his blood while he's in shock. Like that artery, man. Yeah.
Yeah, she got him. And without hesitation, Smoke just like pulls out the cannons.
No. She turned around. She was like this.
Oh yeah, she tried to play it off like, oh, it's not what you think.
Is that what you think? Right. I was dead. I'm like, you literally got drool on your chin. His neck is.
So what is it like, Mary? What is it like, Mary? Tell me what it's like.
His neck is scorching out like it's Kill Bill. He was like, the hell wrong with you? Twin double hand.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, and she gets up. Oh God, that was in the preview.
Yeah, that was in the trailer.
We're gonna kill every single last one of you. And it was strange seeing her say that.
Yeah, it was freaky.
It's Hawkeye. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
She's like,
Hawkeye.
She got holes all in her, right? Air conditioning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Double magnums, mind you. She's like, we're gonna kill every last one of you.
He double blasted her too. So
and then she runs out blasting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So of course, so Smoke's like all in shock and traumatized, and he's like, "That's my brother," and that whole thing played out, and then they had to shut everything down. And and correct me if I'm missing something. And then I don't think Grace and Bo saw that, right? They were still on the side doing their thing, and they were trying to talk about breaking camp.
Well, no. They didn't see the initial in the room, but when they saw her leave, and then he was blasting her from behind. Like he blasted her in the front, then behind, and she was running off. Right, and didn't even. It's like hopscotch to her. Like, excuse me. No reaction. That's when she was like, okay. And that's when she started schooling everybody. Okay, this is a demon. We're dealing with some stuff here. Let's have everybody get out. And like you said.
And then, so I knew it was going to be a wrap for Bo when she told him to go out and get the car. I'm like,
you can't be mad because even back then, you don't know all the rules of vampirism. Mm-hmm. So we're watching this in modern time. But me, common sense, I don't care if I don't know the rules, James. I just saw a girl take 2 9mm to the back and front, and you want me to go get the car? You got me messed up.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. While he's gone, folks, feel free to share, comment, subscribe to CJack Productions on YouTube and check out the playlist. Most of me and Arch team ups all the time, and now he's back.
Shameless plug, but okay.
Shameless plug. I didn't put that filler in there.
Yeah, and then Cornbread goes out to go use the bathroom, and there was another meme about that moment where it's like, Cornbread, did you really have to go that far out to take a leak? Really?
I ain't seen that one. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I'll check it out.
I was like, Cornbread could have literally just went right around the corner of the door.
I have.
Yeah.
He looked like he went like from.
He went too far out, is my point.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. He could have literally just walked literally right around the corner of the door. He might have been better off.
Yes. And they were then they were messing with him outside. Hey,
yeah. Wait, what? So
right.
And then, what did you think of that about that whole moment when he was trying to get in, and then Andy was quizzing him like, why you need an invite now?
So Andy was telling him what was going on with the demons and stuff. Meanwhile, Cornbread was way back. I got this in my head verbatim. It was an interesting scene. He was like, "Oh, what's up, y'all? I'm back now. All right, well, let me in. Come on." And he was like, "No. You were just here. What do you mean? Let me in. Come on." Well, come on now. I was just here. I was guarding the door. Come on, I just went to the bathroom real quick. Okay, well, nobody's stopping you. Remember, Andy was like, "Nobody's stopping you, big ass. Let's come on in." And that's messed up, y'all. Y'all would think I'm going to be a vampire. Come on, I'm just fine. And finally he was like, look. Oh, that's what it was. He's like, okay, look, I ain't got time for these quizzes, deflecting. Give me my money for the night and I'll go. And he's like, are you serious right now? If y'all gonna let me in, if y'all gonna be, play me like that, put a guilt trip on them. Man, get your money. The minute he put his hand.
I liked how that was played out.
That was played out really good. Yeah.
You would have thought Smoke would have been a little bit more smarter than that.
Considering, right? Like, okay.
Because here's the thing. Because here's how I look at it. Because, of course, this is not a flat-out comparison from Dusk Till Dawn, but Smoke would have been like George Clooney, whereas Stack would have been like Quentin Tarantino.
Absolutely. Heavy influenced.
If that makes sense. I would have thought Smoke would have been a little bit more discerning than that. I mean, I get it on some level, like he want to be honorable, he want to pay people what he owe them, but his spidey senses should have been tingling harder. Is my point.
Yeah, well, that thing clocked out, and I thought he got his arm for sure, but he reacted just quick enough. And he took one to the face.
Yeah. I know he didn't get bit. He came close, but he didn't get bit.
Right.
Yeah, but I like how that played out because even then. The way when he tried to bite him, I was like, "Oh,
right, that part." And then not to take over. Then the declaration of war was made. Hey, listen. It again like Dusk Till Dawn. Even they did this with Selma Hayek. Listen, and they were like basically at the door. Listen, we know that what we are. So why don't you just wrap this up? Let us come on in. You know what I'm saying? That devil. Trying to influence you to come on our side's take, but go ahead. I thought that was interesting too.
I just like how like some people just got caught up, and there was another guy like they threw outside they thought was dead or something like that. I remember.
No, so what happened
he was passed out.
Yeah, he was passed out.
They thought he was dead.
Right.
Yeah, and Cornbread got him.
Believe it or not, how fast he was.
Yeah, man, that was freaky. But then I like the whole part, like the remaining survivors in the building, they did the garlic test. Remember that part?
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that whole thing where like you just eat this garlic, and they were looking at Pearline was looking kind of suspect for a minute too. Remember?
Yeah, she was like, "I ain't gonna." Damn. And then they were flinching. Of course, the garlic test.
Mm-hmm. Yo, but like, what did you think of Delta Slim's reaction? I was like.
Yeah, right. He was like, well, what you doing? Yo,
man, I'm not even gonna hold you, man. This is how I felt during the first year of COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
When people would show like the symptoms, you're just like,
yeah, like you coughing too many times.
Yeah, man,
I was like that, Arch. I swear to God, I'm like, hey, come on in real quick, blah blah blah, cousin. Even with my cousin, right? Yeah. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You use this cup. Anyway.
Yeah, that's how I felt. But and then what else? I'm trying to remember what happened after that. Then I like the whole vampire part where like the vampires were outside dancing, and then it wasn't even like the soul music. It was more like the Irish music, and then we see
Oh,
Stack dancing with them and all that stuff.
wait,
I thought that was very allegorical too. What do you
we
say?
skipped the major part where Smoke was forced to leave. Because remember, he was dead. He came back to life, and he was still locked in that room.
You're talking about Stack. You're talking
I'm a
about Stack.
Stack. I have them two backward. I'm still got Michael B. Stack
Yeah,
was in the room. So he's like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Let me out. Let me out. And so his brother was going to let him out at first. And Annie was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
That's not your brother.
I'm then cousin. Sorry. And he was like, didn't you say that he was bit? Yeah. So, and that's when they put two and two together with the vampirism. So I forgot how he got out, and they chased him out, and then he joined the rest of the vampires outside
right.
The juke. Yeah. But anyway.
You know what? To be real with you, I kind of forget how that played out right after that too. But I liked how it was done when he stabbed the knife through the hole at first. When Sammy was going to peek through, I liked how they did that. That was dope.
That was dope as hell.
Yeah, excuse me. But and then I liked how they had something going on right outside, and then it was like more like the Irish music. And even Stack was dancing.
Breaking that Irish juke like a mug, dude. Yeah. Like the river dance, kind of like the river dance.
That's
stuff.
What that's called. You know,
yeah,
and it's river dancing. And it's a damn shame. I should know this because I'm 1/5 Irish.
That's right. Right.
And I should know this, but I don't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Whoops.
But I need to start learning more about that too. So anyway, what else? And then it got to the point where, forgive me if I'm missing something. Oh yeah, they this is where we find out we confirmed that Bo got converted, and they said, and then Remick said something about going after their daughter, and that's when Grace lost it.
I don't blame her. Like, you know what? He was G-rated. He's like, you know what? If he's going to go after my kids, screw that. Come on in. I'll take you all on. And that's the welcome they needed. Everybody heard that welcome from outside. They turned around like, oh, we got the okay. And it was a slaughter. I mean, they put up a fight.
I liked how it was done. I liked how it was done. But before that, they were getting ready. They were getting their weapons ready because they were trying to figure out their next moves. Because their whole thing was they were trying to survive the night until Grace messed it up for everybody.
Yeah. No, it was supposed to be a war of attrition. They were going to stall them out till dawn. And there was a motel being made. There was whatever silver they had left to be used.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I liked that whole action sequence. That was dope. And I liked and even though I was mad at Grace, I get why she did it because she was worried about her daughter. And
yeah,
because they remember they still had their daughter left behind. It was just them two.
Yeah.
And the fact that her husband is already converted doesn't exactly help matters because the daughter's at risk.
Yeah, she had no choice.
Yeah. And then I liked her. She had one of the most beautiful deaths in the movie too. The way that she went out, she died burning up, killing. Was it Bo that she killed, or was it another vampire? I can't remember.
Another vampire, but staking him down while I guess she was set on fire. The cocktail didn't work out. Yeah,
she was on fire too. But the way that was I just thought that was masterfully done. I liked how that went out. And who else?
Your boy, he cut himself to try to buy them time to get out. That was
Delta Slim. I was like, oh, Delta.
He tried to take one for the team so they can go upstairs and just buy. The point was to buy
them time. He was trying to buy them time,
right? But
and then I had a feeling Annie was going to get bit because she was like not paying attention for a little too long.
Yeah,
she was doing
what she could, but she got flanked. Yeah,
and I was like, ah. And then even Mary and
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Anyway,
good one.
Thank you. Yeah,
but what else? And even Stack and Mary peeped that, and they felt bad,
right?
With Annie, you know what I'm saying? They ran off and bounced. So I was like, ugh. And then upstairs, Pearline got. She was trying to help Sammy out, and then Smoke and Stack were fighting. And then as Sammy was running out, he got chased down by Remick was chasing him down in the swamp in the swamp. So I liked how that played out.
Yeah, it played out good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a whole interesting thing. And then whatever happened to Remick, the rest of the vampires could feel, right? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, because he grabbed his guitar, which had a silver plate in it. I did do some research on this.
I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Same. And he swung it. It shattered. Of course, it shattered the guitar, but the plates wedged in, and all the vampires felt it. That's what I was telling you about that head vampire stuff.
Right.
Because he was burning and I think it was still daytime, but I don't know if the Indians did that in the very beginning.
It was the sun was starting to come up.
Then okay, I'll go with option A. He was definitely that rule of the head vampire doesn't apply there, but where they can resist the sunlight, that doesn't apply there. But in some cases, yes. But
and then I like that whole thing, and then Sammy took off, and then Smoke stayed behind because he knew. Did he know that the Klansmen were coming?
Because wait, what was the warning on that? Give me a minute. Somebody told him in the beginning of the movie that the guy was KK, whatever. I'm trying to remember because he was way too prepared for them to show up. Way too prepared.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember, like, what tipped him off? What made him realize they were going to come back around and not honor the agreement?
Audience, let us know. Wait, did the deal go bad? The deal went bad somehow. I'm trying to remember. No, yeah, they got the place, but he insulted them. Well, this used to belong to the Klan.
Wait a minute. I know they warned in the beginning, they warned the guy, like, if any Klansmen come around here, they're going to get got or something like that, right?
Something to affect. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But I didn't know what was going on. Then he gunned down the Klansmen that tried to show up. They didn't have their robes on. They just showed up, you know what I'm saying? Acting like they were just going to wild out. And he already had something for him.
Yeah, he sniped 4 of them, then went to the dirt, kicked up the dirt with an old school Tommy gun, laid them to waste, threw a grenade at one of them trying to retreat. Nah, bruh, no prisoners. He caught one to the gut. I was like, dang. But and I knew the numbers were way too high for him to come out unscathed. But he took out a lot of them at one time, though.
Yeah, but I like that whole thing. I thought it was done too. Like he felt himself dying, but he killed the main guy, the guy they bought the building from.
Yeah.
He took him out before he went out, but I liked how he was seeing Annie and his child in the afterlife. I liked how that was cut. I liked how they cut in between that. So I thought that was well done. And then this is how we find out how Sammy got to where he was and how he was. It was full circle. Yep, there you go. You're right.
Exactly.
And then and he was trying to like take the guitar from him, but Sammy was still holding on to it. Remember?
That just saved his. Yeah.
He wasn't going to let go.
No,
because Sammy didn't care about that.
Now you see why he was. It was a piece, no bigger than my wallet. It was almost nothing left of that guitar.
Yeah, but he was still holding on to it. So then we find out decades later, Sammy is like this celebrated.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Sammy's like this celebrated. He's like this well-accomplished blues musician. Mm-hmm. He's much older, but he still got the scars on the side of his face.
Yeah. I sent you a link on that. It was based upon a history, and he survived up until 2003, if I remember right. He died. He died not.
Sammy. That was up until the early 90s.
90s. Okay.
Yeah.
93. I knew it was 3 something.
It was like 92 or 93, one of the two.
Yeah. And it was interesting because it was a little piece of history, but it makes you think: did it happen, or was this a folktale?
So this Sammy has to be in at least his late 70s, maybe early 80s, somewhere around there.
Early 80s. I'm going for that.
Guessing.
Right.
We're 20s. And then this is where we see modern day Stack and Mary.
Yeah.
And we find out that Smoke and Stack made a deal when they were fighting. Mm-hmm. Smoke said, "I will spare your life if you leave Sammy alone." Something like that.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing.
It was paraphrased, but it was still poetically nonetheless. That's exactly what happened, though. So.
And then I know Stack offered to convert him, but Sammy's like, "No, I'm good." And then they left him alone. But I just like that. I thought that was a really dope post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Star Laboratories. I'm reading.
Industries from Arrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I ordered a couple new shirts, and one of my subscribers got me hooked up. Some more coming in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then, so I love this. So I love this movie. I need to go see it again. The second time I was getting ready to see it last night, but I never got around to it.
You got to absorb it. Yep.
Yeah, so I probably might go see it sometime next weekend, maybe or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to catch it one more time at least to support it. So far, globally, the movie's made about 237 million so far.
It's equal to Avatar now. That's saying much. The original Avatar, the blue people.
I know you're talking about. Like you talking about for the first weekend.
For the first weekend, we'll see how long it'll keep up. I ain't saying it's beating it yet, but for the first weekend, it did beat it though. So
Okay. So right now, as of I want to say yesterday, it's at 237 million, and that includes global international numbers too.
mhm.
So the budget for the movie is 90 million. So right now it is technically profitable, but only
Yeah.
by a little bit. I think it needs to hit like somewhere between 280 to 300 to start being profitable, something like
Mhm.
that. But it is a win nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? So I know Deadline was trying to throw some shade at it this first weekend, saying, yeah, it's a successful in the box office, but it still needs to make this X amount in order to be profitable. And I know some actors like Ben Stiller and somebody else like, yo, why did you need to say that? How come you just couldn't celebrate the win? So I felt like
Yeah.
there was,
Why is that?
well, I
Shoot.
feel like I can't help but feel like there was some thinly veiled racist shade going on there. But I know Ryan Coogler has got some special deal, like as far as like how he's gonna profit off this movie as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember the exact. Okay,
But
but
go ahead, wrap it up. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know like what the details of the deal are, but that's yeah. So the word is it's supposed to shake up the industry, like how this movie, like the deals of this movie.
Mhm.
So I just hope nothing but the best for this movie. Long story
No,
short.
no. I mean, it may be a one-shot deal. It makes me want to wish that this was like a series or some room, some plot room for
Mm-hmm.
continuation, but we'll see because it was really done really well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I got right now. Again, this is Arch from Arch Assessment. Follow me at the Arch Assessment. Please like and subscribe, and also follow CJack at CJack Productions. And we will catch y'all later.